Hello and welcome back. My name is Virginia Robin. I'm the author of the book Not Guilty, Finding Peace in 3 Simple Steps, and I'm doing a reading for you. Um, because I was too lazy to write an audiobook. There you go. No shoulds. There are no shoulds in this whole thing I talk about. In the last episode, I took you through that idea. I gave you a nice little fun form to fill out to see where you might identify where your dreaded shoulds in life are and how they could be placing some heavy weights on you by having to be good and do the should. In fact, yes, in the beginning of this book, I write how to use this book, and mind you, that's also a guideline, not a should. So, meaning you can jump in anywhere you want to, you'll get some value out of it. Take away what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. I'm not here to tell you how to live life, I'm just sharing my own experiences. But funnily, in my journey, even, I noticed every book I read had a should. You know, you have to do this ritual to get to a place, you know, be it a certain way of meditating, certain rituals. Even was early last year, I noticed a question somebody asked on LinkedIn, and it said, how's everyone going with their New Year's resolutions? And one lawyer, she said she was starting this journaling. Every morning she'd journal, and she said she's about 3 weeks into the year and found it so stressful. She said, I'm not living up to her goodness. And that is trying rather than flowing with things. And that's probably the point I'm making. If something's feeling stressful to you, why are you doing that? It's not the optimal way to go. And this book explains why, or what I've discovered in any event. So, yes, we tend to start afresh on a Monday and or a New Year's Day and then say, we're trying so hard. And then we follow these rituals and we can't seem to sort of get there because why can't we stick to them? I've got an idea why that is, and I don't live my life by ritual anymore. So your life is absolutely perfect where it is right now. Imagine you are a rose blooming, for example. As you are growing and you are developing the thorns, you are the perfect journey to that bloom rose. You are the blooming rose. You're getting thorny, you're growing, you're getting the bud, you're blooming at every single stage of life. You are perfectly perfect wherever you are. There is nothing wrong with you. Sweet. That's a sweet idea. So, with that in mind, I will read you today's reading, which is the introduction. So, off we go. Despite appearances, some of us don't realise we're travelling along life's road to nowhere until it trips us up and brings us to our knees. And that is what happened to me. Literally. I had ticked all of life's boxes in my own special way. Sure, life had its niggles, but I meticulously pushed them all down so that they believed in my shiny, polished exterior, complete with matching manicure. I still have the matching manicure. To onlookers, I had it all. And I did. Behind those proverbial closed doors, however, alcohol and other fun distractions relieved me from looking in places my eyes feared to tread. I wasn't walking on eggshells, I was tiptoeing around them. I lived in expectation city and tension was high. It was 2012, so nearly 12 years ago now, when the life I had carefully carved out for myself began to fall apart. It took an undignified public tumble to show me that my path was off course. It seemed my internal compass was decidedly headed south. At the time, I was a partner in a seaside law firm. As far as society's rules go, I'd made it. My name was now steadfastly in lights, so to speak. I was finally what they referred to as someone. I worked really hard for that title. I really did. Having hailed from a less than privileged background, if you define privilege in terms of happy families and material wealth. The road to that life-changing event was animated when I landed a reception job at a small local law firm. I was 32 years old at the time, and my brain was flatlining from being a stay-at-home mother for 4 long months. Like any good lawyer, I've just skipped a whole few pages. Let's wind back a sec. A friend I'd worked This can happen. A friend I worked with in law firms previously called me about the position. It was perfect. A new daycare centre had just opened right next door so I could work full time and continue to breastfeed on my breaks. I was an achiever. Mind you, according to them, stay-at-home motherhood was the right thing to do. I battled with the idea. Stay-at-home motherhood was simply not my calling. Nevertheless, they judged me as a bad mother for returning to work so early. Now, for all the women out there or all the stay-at-home people in the role of motherhood, you hear me on that one. I'll explain who they are in more detail as we move on, but for now they are society, or those who come complete with all their shoulds, musts and oughts and guilty verdicts. They have expectations of you and woe betide if you let them down. Now take a moment to reflect on a situation you're facing where you're having difficulty making a decision, like going back to work as a mother or taking another job or whatever that is. When you're making decisions because you need to consider the expectations of others. I think most decisions people make, or most major decisions, will have the little voices of other people weighing in heavily in the background. Whose choices are you making? Why is it so hard to do what you want to do? Generally, it's because you don't want to feel guilty of being called wrong, selfish, or even stupid. Even for me, going back to work was wrong but selfish. It's just like, how dare you not be a good mother and stay at home and mind your child? For me, my brain was turning to mush. How was that helpful to my son at the time when I'm thinking I'm not functioning well here, my energy isn't high? I returned to work despite what they said. Guilt popped in now and then, but in this scenario I was able to selfishly ignore its niggling voice. Shortly after, the law firm was acquired by a lawyer from the city who was seeking a sea change. He, at the time, was not all that familiar with the nuances of a small private legal practice. He saw my potential and encouraged me to apply to go through law school. I, being one who had both the highest of ideals and stiletto heels, decided I would help people. I'm a person. I like being helped. It's what I do. It's what I'll do, I declared. One hand on hip, cradling newborn baby, superwoman cape flapping gently in the breeze. I can do this. Boxes ticked. I turned 40 in the year that I was admitted to practice law. I finally completed my law degree part-time by correspondence while working full-time as a paralegal, and I added to the degree of difficulty the responsibility of both motherhood to then my very young son and wife to my now ex-husband, not listed in order of difficulty. Wink. That 2012 game changer, and I do see life as a game, unfolded as my favourite pair of leopard print stiletto heels tripped me right up in broad daylight via an undignified thud for everyone to see. And just so you know, here those babies are. Shoes of salvation, I now call them. Thank you so much. So the leopard print heels, leopards are still with me, tripped me up in broad daylight. There I was on my hands and knees, suited up in the middle of the pedestrian crossing, hoping those stripes would open up and swallow me whole. For some reason, I remained frozen for I don't know how long, staring bewilderedly toward the ground at my now chipped manicure, surely a sign that the polish in my life was about to wear off. A lovely man had to get out of his car to help me up off the road. So embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. I was frozen. Those heels betrayed me in a way that no woman should ever have to endure. Yet they set me on a path that, whilst bumpy, would dramatically change the course of my life for the better. After the chiropractor I went, who prescribed yoga as the sure remedy for my bruised ego and knees. Yoga, I uttered, eyes rolling. That'd be like watching paint dry. I was miffed. I was a Zumba girl. Apparently my knees, also betraying me, said no via my chiropractor's lips. The first yoga class I attended felt like I'd encountered something familiar. I wondered why a few breaths and stretches made me feel such a sense of peace. It was bizarre. A few just stretching and breathing. It was like something I'd never encountered before, a stark contrast to the underlying tension I encountered in my day job. Like any good lawyer, here, that was the part I skipped ahead to. I needed some evidence, not to do things by halves, and in an attempt to maintain my polished perfectionism of credibility, as we do, or as the type of person I do, I spent a whole year adding diploma in yoga teaching to my collection of personal labels. Another box ticked. I was all swept up in the delight of playing with my newfound toy until I realised that yoga spoke of connection and oneness, whereas my lawyer life perpetuated the idea of separation in its me versus you model. Oneness, separation, like oil and water, just don't mix. Oh dear. I'd worked so hard to make it, to become somebody. So I wasn't going to let it go that easily. More investigation was needed. Surely I could emulsify my two worlds. Lol. It took me just under 10 years of getting lost in some rather dark rabbit holes to figure out why my emulsification efforts were simply not possible. I had yet to become skilled at discerning the difference between those two worlds. So I truly understood the implications arising from each one. I especially needed to thoroughly understand the concept of oneness, particularly from a grounded scientific perspective, and to explore what true connectedness would look like in everyday life. Within that expedition came some quite painful learning experiences, let me tell you, and this is what I discovered. So I've just got 3 things I discovered: the problem, society's solution, the natural solution, and the outcome. So I'll just read those to you. So you've been feeling confused, the problem. You, society, has been feeling confused, concerned, or anxious about circumstances in your life, and you want to be instead in a place where it feels safe or certain and loving. Paradise. That's why I felt we have the legal system, because we take our problems to a lawyer and they're going to fix it for us, okay? They're going to make everything certain and give us an outcome. It's going to be great. You don't really know why life has become so tricky to navigate and wonder why people are becoming more difficult to deal with. I think you're hearing me on that one. It's about this point you start judging your circumstances, declaring that something is wrong or even maybe someone's to blame. Bring in the lawyer. You become stuck and you don't know how to move forward. If only they would change so you could get some long-awaited peace in your life, you say. Stripping all that away, the problem is really one where you want to shift from feeling trapped to feeling free. And that's what I fundamentally discovered. It's a feeling place. You're feeling like everything is horrible and you want it to feel good. Society's solution. Tick all their boxes, and at some point in the future, they will judge you to be a good person and success is assured. Be sure you know how to judge right from wrong, work hard, be virtuous, and you will earn that freedom feeling. You'll get to go on those holidays. I tried very hard to follow their rules. I wanted life's gold star. I sure did. I mean, everyone does. Everyone wants a gold star. Everyone wants to get a pat on the back and say, you're doing great. I was that good girl in school. I was a partner in a law firm. I'd acquired the sought-after beachside home, sweeping ocean views. There was a Ferrari in my garage full of luxury cars, holidays to exotic locations, all tied up in a neat bow. Or let we say, shall we say, not the knot of marriage. A long marriage. All that effort, all that careful curation of life, pleasing other people, tiptoeing around the eggshells, it didn't bring me any freedom at all. I remained fixed, still anxiously tiptoeing around life. Any wonder those leopard print heels tripped me up. I've found that so many of us have been feeling confused and concerned because of a strong desire to avoid failing at life. Under no circumstances do you want to get it wrong. You don't want to be found guilty of breaking society's rules. They will reject you and you will not get the love you seek. Perhaps you're feeling it too. Do you think you need to follow their rules to become free? Have you thought about that? In society's model, you can never be free if you remain under the influence of others. You're allowing them to trap you in a negative feeling state. It's a feeling state that you're trapped in. The natural solution, on the other hand, Life lit up for me when I realized things change for us when we align with our natural beingness. Nature. Okay, stay with me. You're made of the same stuff of the stars in the night sky. Nature can't be pinned down. Nature is not right or wrong. It's wild and free, like leopard print heels. I figured if I wanted to feel free, then maybe aligning with natural ways of being held the answers. I tested it a few times. It worked a treat. Nature's governed by energetic principles. When I opened myself to the application of these principles or ideas, I understood how we could easily use them to navigate our life. This is the point where the notion of connectedness or oneness lit up as my guiding path. It's sort of all tied in here. So this is what I found. Life does not function effectively in a me versus you or us versus them model. Particularly if we're all fundamentally interconnected, it just can't happen that way. And this is why I believe we feel so out of sorts if we're pushing against our true nature. The way we have been seeking satisfaction in our lives or solving our conflicts has not been aligning with our natural selves. Said another way, if everything is fundamentally one energy, as science tells us, there can be no them out there, can there? If we're all one, there's no them. This is despite what you've been taught. In fact, you are them too. Whoa, that sends shudders down people's spines when I say that. This makes a lot of sense when you see that you're part of the society that created and holds together the social rules, the shoulds and the musts that you're trying so hard to comply with. You're creating them at the same time that you're trying to comply with them. They cannot make you feel bad. You are doing that to yourself. You are doing that to yourself. This is exciting news. It is. It's exciting. Yes, it is. It's exciting. Because now life becomes all about you. That's what we want, isn't it? And how you choose to feel about life. It never, ever, 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 ever has anything to do with them, anyone else. Ever, ever, ever. If there's one thing you can take away, life and the way you experience has nothing ever, ever, ever to do with another person. How liberating is that? Yes. Feelings are your key to the freedom, though. Feelings are your keys. They are the essence of your natural being, and I'll guide you toward learning how to use the energetic frequencies or vibrations associated with your feeling state to navigate your way to freedom. Your feelings are your navigators. We've been chopped off from them. I'm going to dive into that. When I figured out that it was my feeling state that created everything external to me, and not the other way around, it's the inside out, not the outside in, I realized I was invoking a true superpower. There was the cape. Now it's flapping in the breeze. No more tiptoeing for me, not even in leopard print heels. The outcome. What I discovered. Aligning with my natural state of being, I made dramatic shifts in my life. I started simply by feeling like everything was in perfect order as it was. Like the rose blooming. Yeah, there might be some thorns, but that is my growth on the way to the full bloom of the rose. Everything's in perfect order. I then moved my state of being to feeling that I was in perfect order and lived in a state of ease. Like, look, there's no problem here. It felt like the state of paradise to me. I didn't have to go on the holiday to feel it. Because you often know you might go on those holidays with these great expectations of an amazing time, and sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So where did I end up? When I started feeling like I was in paradise, I ended up in a state of paradise. Footloose and fancy-free in paradise. I still have the leopard print heels. I'm just not wearing them every day. Within 2 years, I'd left my marriage, sold my legal practice, and moved into state. That might sound really horrific. It was an adventure, absolutely, and I met myself in that space. It was amazing. My being is, for the most part, at peace. As far as doing is concerned, I'm now a reformed lawyer, specialising in guiding to people toward invoking more peace in their lives by understanding there's way more to you than you can see. As an added bonus, and this is what people often find too, when you start to see a different way of the world, you start also to discover hidden talents that you have and hidden purposes. And for me, I discovered a buried talent for creating colourful artwork. There it is, more authentic to me. And and aligning with nature, you will find natural talents arising within you. And it's super exciting. It just comes up. It happens by itself. I love my life. I love my life, and it shows. Others now ask me how I've reached this place, and I'm showing them too. So that's why I'm reading this book, because I think sometimes we just can't be bothered reading. Given I've learned how much fun it is to laugh at myself, and I actually do, I see life as funny, and how beneficial laughing at life and the journey of life, when you get pricked by the thorn on the rose bush, which is you. That's pretty funny. It's a pretty another good hidden talent. I'd invite you to join in the fun and laugh at my experiences too, with anecdotes and other real life examples. I've written this book to guide you through 3 simple steps that helped me locate that peaceful, satisfying feeling place, no matter the enormity of the crisis that you face. And unlike me, it won't take you 10 years to get there. I had to try this out and question a whole lot of stuff as I got here. Whilst the process itself is simple, changing course is not necessarily easy at all. It takes great courage. It's a challenge. It takes willingness, courage, and self-reminding to embody a new way of being. Embodying. It's not intellectualizing, it's embodying. We think we know how to do things, but until you've experienced it over and over and over again, I can tell you that it's not going to happen. There are no shoulds or musts here in this journey. There are experimentations, observations, choices to be made, and outcomes to reflect upon. All part of the game. I'm not here to change you, as I said earlier. I can't. Aside from an inability to change anyone, I assure you, you are perfect right now in every single way. If, however, you have the desire to experience life with way less concern and with a cheeky sense of humour, willingness, and a little courage, I can guarantee your life will change accordingly. Mine most certainly did. I will guarantee it. If you are willing and courageous enough to see a different perspective, to stop blaming others and understanding that you are the beautiful rose bush with all the thorns and you're pricking yourself. We could say that in so many ways. Your life will change. As I say, mine most certainly did. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next reading.